right.
All right, we're good?
Yeah, we're good. All right, guys. We have a very special guest speaker here, Mike with Montauk Lures, and he's going to be breaking down, his product. And yeah.
A little bit of history. All right, how you doing, everybody? Basically, what I want to cover is first a little history about me, how I got involved in fishing. Then I'd like to cover the lures, the product that I developed. Then I'd like to go into how to fish the product, which is probably the most important thing. A lot of people don't play the tin game, so I would like to specifically talk to you guys about how to play that game, how to fish it effectively. So basically, my parents are both immigrants from Italy. All right, they're from a small town in Bari, Carato. Came over here to give the opportunity for their children to have a better life after the war and stuff like that. It was very difficult. My mom was a seamstress, used to make wedding dresses. My dad was a farmer, came from the farms in Italy, in southern Italy. Came over to this country, got involved in construction, something to make money for the family, send money back to his family in Italy. As he grew up, he actually ended up taking over the business from his boss. Brilliant man, incredible mentor in my life. My dad is hands down the best outdoorsman I know. Small game hunter, dog trainer, bird hunter, deer hunter, tracker, fisherman, hunter-gatherer, mushrooms, clams, mussels, crabs, squid, shrimp. The guy was unbelievable. There's nothing this guy couldn't catch, okay? The kind of guy that I think if he was on Survivor and you dropped him off, he would definitely win. And when you had to pick him up, he'd tell you, first of all, he'd gain weight. And he'd look at you and say, I want to stay another week. Please, can I stay another week? Okay? That's the kind of man he was. He was one with nature. He grew up in the outdoors and loved it and passed down all that information. And you'll understand that as I go on through this conversation about being one with nature, how important that is. Knowing your prey. You are the predator. When you're fishing and when you're hunting, you become the predator. So knowing what your prey does, what the prey feeds on, when your prey's feeding on it, why they're feeding on it, all that information is a major factor in you being successful in whatever you're doing, whether it's fishing or hunting. My dad was the first one to take me out to Montauk. I think I was 10, we're talking about 1976. He used to charter a boat every year. And we used to go out, spend the weekend, have a blast, go out to dinner, go out on the boat, catch a ton of fish, come back. Back in the day, we caught a ton of fish and big fish. Come back in, bring the fish into town. They would cook it up for us. It was a great experience. So having a man like that part of my life is huge. And he's still part of me. He's passed since. He still comes to me and he still drops these ideas in my head. Everything that's here in front of you and everything that's coming is from him. Don't want to get too emotional and get too into it, but he comes to me at 4 o'clock in the morning and Nicole's back there, she could tell you, and he drops off these ideas, or I have these dreams, and he wakes me up and says, Mickey, wake up. Mickey, wake up. My nickname's Mickey. And I wake up and I have this idea about this lure. And I'll jump up at 4 o'clock in the morning, I'll either draw it or build it. And it's sitting in front of you. I have currently 1 design patent, 1 utility patent, 2 design patents pending. I'm going to be bringing in another 3 patents this probably summer. I'm already spoke to my patent attorney about patenting another item ASAP. So I'll probably have another 3 more patents by the fall. Possibly 5 going into the winter. We'll see what happens. Just a quick shout out to Betsy Dow, BK Dow. Betsy's an incredible patent attorney. That's a whole other journey, and it's a whole other conversation. We can have a whole other seminar just on that journey. She's helped me out tremendously. Just a wonderful person, great person to work with. I'm so thankful that I met her after meeting several patent attorneys. I chose her, and I'm so thankful that I made the right decision, because my utility patent was very difficult. And it's not even on this table. All right, it's coming. I had to beat out 5 other weedless hooks, okay? 5 other ones, and we managed to do it. So I'm very thankful for that. I'd like to move into just talking to you guys a little bit about the product and what makes my product different and special from everybody else's. So basically, if you look at an Ava or a Diamond Jig, they've been around for, I don't know, 70 years, 60 years, 50 years, whatever it's been. They've been around forever. Since I was a kid, they've been around. So what I've done differently is I put this ball onto the lure. I changed the head on it. I hammered it. We put scales on. Nicole and I designed scales for it to give it a little more shine. This ball is critical. It's twofold. Our tail, we use a 3/8 tube, not a 1/4-inch tube, so we're using a much heavier tube. Our bend in our tube is very slight. The competition's got this big curl to it. You cast it out. My tube and my lure goes aerodynamic. Okay, so if you can see that, she's going to cut through the wind with that ball. She's going to cast a mile. The tail's in line. You're going to get a little variation out of it, but if he's got that big curl on it, you're going to get this thing that's flopping in the wind. It's going to take away from your distance. So we solved that problem. We did that by gluing and tying the tube to the shank of the hook. First one to do it, okay? So my tube does not shift, does not move. It's set in a preset position for a reason. When my lure hits the water, I'm going to crank on it quick, get it up off the bottom. We're going to go into how to fish it. Okay, you don't want it going straight to the bottom and hooking on the bottom. If you lose lures, you're not going to want to play the game. If you learn how to play the game the right way, you're going to love the game, and you're going to catch a ton of fish. You're going to bring it straight in. You're going to make contact really quick, then you're going to bring it in, straight in, and my tail's going to swim. Okay, it's going to do this. It's designed to swim. The ball's twofold. Not only is it to cast, more importantly, when you bring it in, the main reason why I did it, so you bring it in low and slow for the bass, low and slow for the bass. That ball is going to make, if you have clams, mussels, rocks, that ball is going to make contact with the bottom first. It's going to sink down by its butt, for lack of a better term. I want to use something different, but she's going to hit that ball and she's going to kick it up. You're going to feel that little bounce. If you look at a ball weight, if you're fishing off a boat, and you're fishing, bottom fishing, a lot of times I'll use a ball weight, because the ball weight's going to deflect off of objects it's not going to snag. It's going to save you a tremendous amount of rigs. It's the same concept. That ball's going to hit the bottom, it's going to flick, you're going to feel that little sensation, that little bounce, and you're going to save my lure. You're just going to crank it a little bit faster. And then you're going to slow it down again, look for the bottom again, and then you're going to crank it a little, as soon as you touch, you're going to crank on it. You're going to crank on it. You don't have to twitch it, just increase the speed. That's the way I fish it. So that's the basic Sea Rocket. That was the first one to come to market. That was the first concept. My flooded tail, those of you that are familiar with fishing, you can see my profile. Okay? There's nothing like that. Okay? On a teaser hook. There's nothing on the market like that. So I'm the first one to market to tie and glue a rubber tube to the shank of the hook. That rubber tube creates a collar, just like a bucktail. There's your profile. Even when it's wet, you're going to get a big profile. The difference is, you got to fish this like a bucktail, so you got to jig it. Difference between this and a bucktail is, that thing's going to cast a mile. I don't care how heavy the wind is. I don't care what conditions you're in. This is going to reach holes that you can never reach before. It's going to get way out there. If you're fishing the canal or the channels, it's going to get you to halfway out there, fishing on the Gossmans and Jim Beach. So I'll cast this lure from the Jim Beach side and choke back on it before it hits the rocks at Gossmans. Okay, that's how far I can throw this thing. So now you take both those ideas, you put them together. It's all right, Mike, what do you got now? There's my tomahawk. Montauk Indians. Of course, I got to name it Tomahawk. All right, there's my squid lure. There it is, deadly. This particular lure right here, actually the Patriot, that's up there, the red, white, and blue, placed in 2 tournaments. 2021. Well, let's back up a little bit. So we're going to go back, I don't know, we'll go back, let's say 12 years ago. So I was a big boat guy. Started off on the shore, fishing on the beach as a young kid. Back in the day, we used to catch porgies and flounder. Flounder was huge. I don't know where they went, but flounder was huge when I was a kid. So we do a lot of flounder fishing, porgy fishing, snappers. So we're bottom fishing most of the time and then going for the snappers. Then you're bottom fishing and all of a sudden you hook up with something. I'm like, oh, the hell is that? And that line's ripping and you're fighting this thing and now you're pulling a nice sized bass. You're like, oh my God, what the hell is this thing? That there opens up a whole other can of worms. There goes a whole new game. And you start getting into that whole striped bass thing, into the bluefish, the big blues, and you start getting involved in fishing them and targeting them. So basically, you know, as you start evolving as a fisherman, I went from the surf to the boats, did my run with the boats, had 3 girls. Boats are kind of difficult. I didn't have enough money to have a huge boat, so I had a small boat. So having 3 girls and being married with a small boat kind of didn't work because I was just solo going out with the guys, missing a lot of time with the family. So that didn't work for me. Later on, I ended up getting a 15-foot Sport Boston Whaler. Awesome boat. Nothing I could say about a Boston Whaler other than they're the best boats on the market. I used to launch that off of Shagwan with Nicole, and we used to take our kids out there. We had the water trampoline, the tube, we had the boogie boards, we had 2 kayaks, we had the paddle board. It was paradise, and that's what we call it. Montauk was our paradise, okay? We would go out there every single weekend for 17 years straight, pretty much. Based on hunting with my father, waking up at 1 o'clock in the morning to go hunting. And we would hike for 4 hours in the pitch dark back in the day, I was a young kid, so I probably had 60 pounds on my back. Later on in life, I was hauling 110 pounds on my back. And going 4 hours up a mountain in the middle of nowhere, because his nickname was the Italian Billy Goat. Okay, that's who my father was. I had to be a son of the Italian Billy Goat. So follow him through the woods, hiking for 4 or 5 hours to get up in the middle of nowhere because no one's here. The deer won't know, don't even know what a human being looks like. That was his thought process. He was right. As I got older, started going to Montauk, of course I did the same thing. I would get in my camper with Nicole and the kids, go down on the north side. 17 years, no one's ever passed me with a camper, okay? I could say that 100% positive in 17 years. Unless someone's come with me, no one's ever passed me in 17 years. That's how remote I go. So I'm all by myself, all alone, enjoying my family. We call it our paradise. And it's been an awesome trip. So the logo, Montauk Lures, of course, everything I created, everything that's here, everything that's coming, was tested and proven in Montauk. So of course, that's got to be my name. That's where the logo came from. Gonna move into a little bit about how to fish the product, which is the most important thing, because a lot of guys shun on tins. So you had Charlie Graves, big tin guy, old school, and then you had Ralph that took it over from Charlie. He's since passed. And a lot of the Jersey guys are big believers in tins. The Montauk guys, yes, you got a majority. Some of them, you know, it's probably like 40, 60 that'll use tins. Mostly bucktails, very effective, and a lot of plug guys. You go up to Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, you get up in that area, they're plug guys. So we did a whole bunch of shows up there this year, and we did fantastic in moving a product that no one's ever thrown before. And we're going to change the way they fish. And same thing here on the island. The Jersey guys are easy to convince because once you throw my lure, you're going to know it. You're going to go like this. Oh my God, it's still going. All right? And then you're going to bring it in and you're going to see the action and say, oh my God, this guy's nailed it. Okay? That's how confident I am. 100% confident in my product. So just trying to think. Let me just look back here for a second to see where I'm at. All right. So the right way, there's no right way and wrong way to fish any lure. It's all about you guys as anglers doing the research and seeing what works for you. Figuring out what's the right thing for your rod, because your rod tip and your reel are going to have certain actions. That's a whole other conversation. There's plenty of guys that did podcasts and seminars on that you need to watch. You know, you can't cover everything in one 40-minute thing, you know. Basically, when I throw the rocket, I don't listen to what everybody says about only fishing at night. I don't believe in that at all. I think the recon during the day is huge. I personally feel that you need to do your recon during the day in order to fish at night. What do I mean by that? If I'm going, we have a boulder here, and I have the current sweeping from left to right. I have a wind coming with current, which matters. We'll get into that later. All this stuff matters. We're not even going to go into the moons and all that other stuff. We're just talking about current and structure. So here's the boulder. I'm standing here. My current sweeping this way. It's the right time in the tide where I got the right movement in the current where I want to be. I'm going to take my lure and I'm going to cast it to the left. I'm going to whip it out there. I'm going to keep my rod tip pointed down low. I'm not going to let it go up here. I'm going to point it down low. That's going to let my line come out, okay, without getting wind knotted. All right? Just going to hit the water. Quick retrieve. Going to get up on my lure. Make contact. Get it coming. A lot of guys say you can't fish tins top water. That's not true. Okay? I've proven that a million times. You're going to make contact. You're going to come in top water. You're going to bring it in top water. Bring it in pretty fast. Bring it in top water. Bring it in. Look what the current's doing to your lure. Bring it in. Okay. Now you got to cast it again. Boom. Same place. Now you got to bring it in a little slower. You're going to go down about 3 feet. Sort of like what a mellowlip is going to do. 2 foot, 3 foot. You're going to stay in that zone. Bring it in a little slower. You can kill that. You're going to see that zone. You're going to bring the lure in. Now you're going to cast it out again. And you're going to go a little slower now, and you're going to go halfway in the water column. That's the beauty and the benefit of a tin. I can fish every single water column, okay? Can't do that with any other lure. I'm going to do that mid. I'm going to throw it again. I'm going to do that 3/4 depth. Here comes the rocket now. I'm going to cast it out there. I'm looking for the bottom. Now I'm slowing it down. I'm looking for that bottom. I'm looking to make contact. If you do what I'm telling you to do, you won't lose lures. If you go straight out and go straight to the bottom, you're going to snag. I am going to feel every bump. I'm going to know where every boulder is. I'm going to work that lure so she just makes contact. I'm just going to, you could twitch it up or just pick your speed up. Pick your speed. You don't feel anything? Slow it down. Keep contact with that bottom. Sometimes you'll have the bottom, you have boulders, you'll have structure. So we're talking on the north side mostly. Some of the stuff on the south side and Montauk by the point, yeah. But when you start getting the ocean, the beaches, that's a different game. We'll get into that. I don't feel the bottom. I'm going to let it go down a little deeper. Sometimes you have the shoreline comes like this, and then she'll drop down. She'll have a little drop off. That's where your bass going to be. Let it drop off into that. Feel the bottom. Keep working that bottom. As soon as you hit bottom, pick the speed up a little. Slow down a little bit. Pick the speed up a little. Slow down a little bit. Doing this during the daytime is crucial, because what that does to you is I'm casting here, the boulder's there. I'm casting here, currents to the right. I got a 10-knot wind coming left to right with current, okay? Boom, I'm blocking all this information, okay, into the head. All right, now I'm gonna say to myself, all right, I'm gonna look at my weather app. So tonight, same conditions, same wind. Wow, same tide. Okay, now here's the boulder. Now I'm casting, and now I get my speed right. Here's the boulder. Here's the swirl behind the boulder. That's where the bass are. Now I got my timing right. So as I bring that lure in, if I do it too fast, here's the boulder, I'm smacking in to the left side of that boulder, and I'm gonna know it. I was going too fast. I need to slow it down more. You wanna get on the back side of that boulder and bring that lure in right where they're gonna be. And when you do that, I don't care if they're hungry, or if they're not hungry, they're gonna bite on it. It's gonna be a reaction strike. That's the key. If I'm top water, pop, 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 and they already ate, all right, whatever, all right, I'm full. But if you bring it around and your sound is right with your lure, and that thing is swimming correctly, they're behind that rock, they're gonna hear the sound first. The sound's right. Now they're already like, all right, what's coming? And then that action is right. And here it is. And then I got the color right. Boom, there's your strike. I guarantee you, you play that game, you'll catch more fish. Guaranteed. Sand beaches. So basically on the sand beaches, you're gonna have the bar. Typically you're looking for moving water, you're looking for cuts, you're looking for riptides going out, you're looking for bars. There's plenty of guys that have covered all that stuff. So basically what I wanna do is, let's say I have a bar out in front of me at 100 yards, right? I'm gonna take my lure, I'm gonna whip it as far as I can, get it on the back side of that bar. So there's guys that say, oh, well, you know, you can't throw a 3 ounce in shallow water or whatever. Okay, all right, thank you very much for telling me that. So I'm gonna throw it as far as I can. I'm gonna get that 3 ounce on the back side of that bar. Hit the water, I'm gonna make contact. I'm gonna slow it down. I'm gonna drop that 3 ounce on the back side of the bar, and I'm gonna work that lure right on the back side. I hit that bar, I'm gonna pick my speed up. If I got no clam beds on that, the hell am I trying to say here? No clam beds or no seaweed, okay? Nothing I'm gonna get stuck in. I'm gonna drag that lure right on that bar. Drag it, drag it, drag it, drag it, till I don't feel it anymore. When I don't feel it, I'm gonna let it drop down. Now I'm on the inside of that bar, and that's a drop off, and the bass will be there. I'm gonna drop that lure right into that and work that right into that, and then as I'm coming in closer to shore, I'm just gonna pick the speed up. But I already hit those 2 zones the best possible way I can ever hit them. That's the key. Yes, sometimes you're in up close. Correct, I agree. You got a 1 ounce, but the 1 ounce, you can work it in up close. Yeah, sometimes you need a 3/8 or 3/4 ounce. I get it. You know, one lure can't do everything, okay? But for the most part, I think I solved a lot of the problems that most anglers have. Just a couple examples. Mike Leary, Montauk guy, big tin guy. Met him probably, I don't know, maybe 5 years ago when I first started developing this lure. Hey, how you doing? Start talking. He's a tin guy. I'm a tin guy, so of course, you know, we're gonna get along. Start talking to him, show him what I'm working on. Wow, that's cool. I'm a tin guy. Awesome. So started fishing my stuff. Loved it. So what he did was last year, he took the naked lure, which is this. I call it the naked lure, which is this one right here. So it's just a silver, all white, with a hook, nothing on it. And he taught me something. He throws this lure out there. He's fishing with two other, I'm just going to say two other lure builders. One's a plug guy, one's a bucktail guy, right? He's throwing the rocket. He's throwing it out there. He's crushing the fish in front of two of them. And they're looking at him and say, what are you throwing? And he's like, Montauk Lure. And what is he doing? So I'm a lure builder, and here's a guy who's an awesome tin fisherman and taught me something. So what he did was he took that lure, cast it out there, was getting on the backside of the bar because he could reach it. Doing the sand eel bite, he was letting it dig into the sand, jigging it up. The ball's going to sit back in the sand, jigging it up, sit back in the sand, jigging it up. It destroyed the fish. Early morning, that's what the sand eels do. They come out of the sand, right? I was like, oh man, I never even thought of it. So I'll work just a plain sea rocket right down low and slow in the sand, jig it up out of the sand, and he's just doing it with the naked. So he's even casting farther than me because there's no tube on it. So he's getting out, a lot of guys say, well, you don't need to cast that far. Okay, my philosophy is this. You're throwing 100 yards. I'm throwing 120. So the 120 yards that I'm throwing, for every 5 casts, I'm doing a football field, more than you. Make sense? Now you take that concept and say, okay, that hole's at 100 yards. So you're casting your lure and you're reaching that 100 yards, you're reaching that hole. So you're getting in that hole, which is effective. You're gonna make that quick contact, which I caught tons of fish on. So it's gonna drop down, you're gonna reel it really fast, bring it up, and you're gonna hook up on the fish on either that drop or usually it's the rise. I usually catch them on the rise at that 100 yards. The difference is I'm going 120. When I go 120, that means I'm going in and out where you can't even reach, first of all. Second of all, when I get to that 100 where you're hitting the fish, I'm working, my lure's already fully working when I come into that strike zone. I'm working it from there all the way back to shore. So I think, to me personally, that's a huge advantage. Huge advantage. Anybody have any questions? Just raise your hand up, ask me a question. I'll be happy to answer it. All right. Let me see what else I wanted to cover here. All right, I want to go into.
I have one question.
Go ahead.
So you're saying basically a lot of the times you're using the reel to actually do the jigging.
100%. Varying the speed. 100%. 100%. You don't need to jerk it.
Other than what you're saying,
forget about that. First of all, I'm 60. All right. The last thing I wanted to design a lure. I didn't have to do this too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Oh my God. No. I just reel it straight in. My tail's doing the action. Yeah. You want to give it a little twitch here and there? Fine. That's all you need to do. And it's a pleasure. It's fun to fish. It's relaxing. Especially when you're spending hours out there. So, I want to ask you guys a question. So, and this goes into technique. So how many of you guys fish, girls, guys, excuse me for not including the ladies in the room, but how many of you guys fish and are fishing for hours? And then all of a sudden, you're talking to your buddy, you casted for 3 hours straight, you're freaking exhausted, boom, there's a strike, there's a hit, you got a fish on. And how many of you said, what was I doing? What was my retrieve? Anybody? Right? What action was I putting on that lure? And you're like totally lost because every cast I make, I am focused. Every cast I make, I know exactly what my retrieve is, what my speed is, and what my action is. Okay? That is crucial. And how do I do it? It's very simple. Whip it out there. Boom, hits the water. Quick contact. I love music. Ba 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 da 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 da. Ba 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 da 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 da. I bring that in. I cast it out again. Da 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 da. Locked in. I get a strike. Very simple. Oh, da 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 da. Throw it back out. Same rhythm, same beat, and I'm back on the fish again. All right. That's a huge tip. Okay, I use that all the time, And it's very, very effective, because there's times when you're talking with your buddies and you're hanging out, and you really shouldn't be talking to anybody when you're fishing. You really should be 100% focused. What I want to also talk about and cover is being one with nature. Everything my dad taught me. All right? You're the predator. They're the prey. Okay? You need to learn when they eat, why they eat, what they eat, why they're eating it. The double W. Why and what? Keep asking yourself, why did that fish hit me? What tide was it? What did I do to make that fish strike? What was the beat? What was the cadence? What was the lure? What was the color? What's the bait in the water? You keep asking yourself those questions constantly so you can figure out the patterns and figure out the games. I don't keep a log. There's plenty of guys that do. I don't disagree with it at all. I think it's the right thing to do. I just enjoy the moment. I just figure it out and look at the signs. And what do I mean by looking at the signs? I'm hanging out on the beach, and Nicole or I will be sitting there, and we're just chilling out. The dog's hanging out with us. Probably having a cocktail, to be honest with you. And I'm looking at the water. I'm looking at the water constantly. And what am I paying attention to? Oh, look, an osprey. Oh, look. Oh, boom. Oh, let me get the binoculars. Oh, what has he got? Oh, he's got a bunker. Oh, today. Oh, he's got a porgy today. Oh, wow. Oh, what time is it? What tide is it? Where is it? It's all information. It's Mother Nature feeding you all that information. You got the seals. Oh, the seals are there. Fishing sucks. It's scary. If the seals are there early on, I'm not talking about recently, right? Because now they're waiting for the dinner bell. They're waiting for the buffet to open up. So what's happening now is when we hook up with fish in particular locations, the seals are smart. They're sitting there waiting and looking at the surf casters. All right, they're coming. They're going to feed us. So as soon as you hook up, seal comes over and steals your fish. All right, which sucks because we're sitting there reeling in those fish as fast as we can, right? And then you got the sharks to deal with. Now that's a whole other issue. I'm not even going to get into that. But if I see the seals there, especially years ago, there's fish there. The only reason why a seal is he's a predator. He's there because the bait's there. I don't care what anybody says. Oh, it ruins the fishing. No, I totally disagree with that one. I'm walking down the beach. I'm on Oceanside, and I'm walking down the beach. I'm paying attention to the signs Mother Nature gives me. I see clams, shells on the shore. There's a clam bed out there. I don't need to see it. I don't think I can get my scuba gear to go see it. The clams are right in front of me. Okay, there's a clam bed out there. That's good to know. That's usable information. I see the seagulls, the terns. Right, so they're diving in the water. So they're, all right, of course you're going to say, all right, there's fish. They're diving. No, that's easy to figure out. I'm looking at the seagulls and the terns on the shoreline. Where are they? Why are they there? They already ate. They're getting ready for the next buffet. Okay, so it's either telling me that there's a lot of wind on the south side, that they don't want to be in there. They want to stay a little bit sheltered, so they come on the north side, get behind the dunes, or vice versa. Okay, so it's telling me that information. It's also telling me that they're getting ready to eat. They're getting ready to feed. They want to be next to that bait source, so they don't have to travel that far. So Mother Nature gives you so many signs. It's just a matter of you being able to read them and to see them and acknowledge them. Go ahead, Frank.
I've had a couple instances, I remember, where I'm sitting on my rock, a couple days in a row, same time, first light. I have birds flying, like a couple terns or seagulls. They flew by at the same time, like 3 days in a row, and I was on the south side. They're going east. How would you interpret? They're going west. How would you interpret that? You think they're going?
I'm going to jump off that rock and get my e-bike and follow those birds. How would I interpret that? Fisher west, right? So sometimes when they spend the night, I don't know how to explain that sixth sense that they have. But yeah, you know, the bird, you can't chase them all the time. You know what I mean? But yeah, they're giving you little pieces of the puzzle. I'll walk down the beach on the north side, and what am I doing? I'm walking down the beach. Of course, I'm picking up garbage and crap that washes up, you know. Nicole's looking for her seashells and her sea glass. And I'm looking on the shoreline, and what do I see? Oh, lobster claw. Oh, lobster tail. Oh, those are all signs. That means the bass are feeding on those lobsters. Something's feeding on them. Something's killing them. They're washing up on shore. And there's certain times of the year when that happens. And when that happens, you want to be on that bottom game. You want to be crawling stuff on the bottom. You got your hand up?
Yeah. Sometimes during the summer, I'm fishing south side on a whitebait bite, and I see during the day when the whitebait comes up, I match the tides, the nights, and I try to fish every water column, every part of the water column I can, and no bites. I'm wondering.
Switch to the Barbie. That's my advice. Throw something at them, they don't know what the hell it is, and they're like, what the hell is that? And they're gonna strike at it. This lure is deadly all season long. The white one with the bucktail that I have, the 1 ounce here, early season is deadly. This 1 ounce is deadly early season, okay? Especially with the smaller baits, the rain baits, deadly. But that pink one with that yellow tail, thanks to Nicole, all right? I laughed at her when she said, oh, you gotta try this thing. I'm like, are you kidding me? You want me to throw this lure? Well, you know, sure enough, through that, I put that lure away within, what, half an hour? I destroyed the fish.
What were the water conditions like? Was it
Clear water conditions. Yeah, I mean, I can get into that whole thing with water. I could do a whole seminar on water conditions. That's a whole other part of that day game. And learning the water, like cloudy water, dirty water, and then translating that dirty water to your night fishing, that's a whole other world I can't even, start getting involved in. But maybe another time we can do it. Another great advice I can give you guys. Surfcast podcast, Jerry and Toby. Awesome. All right? You guys watch it? Awesome. Watch it. I don't agree with everything they say. They won't agree with everything I have to say. You got to be smart enough to take the pieces of it and say, wow, that's awesome information. That's great. And what works for you. Don't be afraid to try your own things. I wouldn't be here if I didn't try my own things and try my own methods and if you think outside the box, take all this information you're getting from all these guys and then apply it. And then tweak it and then work it to what works with your rod, with your reel, with your habits, with your location, the way you fish. And then come up with your own methods and pay attention to Mother Nature. I just recently did a show at the Great South Bay Brewery and had the honor of Crazy Alberto and Billy the Greek coming to my booth, which was awesome. I mean, 2 legends. Billy asked me a funny question. Billy said to me, I don't know what it is, Mike, all these younger guys, they're so like into fishing and into talking to me and into hearing. And I said, Billy, it's simple. I said, what do you mean it's simple? I said, you're finally at a point in your life where you're giving out every single piece of information that you have because you don't want to take it to the grave with you. And these kids are realizing it and they're sucking it up. And the same thing with Alberto. They did podcasts, they did stuff, they give out So we're going to take a guy like Brandon, John Bruno, talk to John. They're going to give you certain information. These are younger surfcasters that fish hard, that don't want to share as much, but they share a lot, okay? They share a lot, don't get me wrong. But when you look at a guy like Alberto and Billy now, at the age they're at, they're spilling the beans. They're telling you guys everything you need to know. Listen, pay attention. They're definitely giving out some incredible information and then apply it to how you fish. There's a guy named Tom Mansour who I wanted to mention. This guy's unbelievable. This guy's a freshwater fisherman, okay? So you're gonna see, I got 3 more patents coming out. Probably, 3 more coming out. And one of my lures that are coming out, one of the patents I'm coming out is based on freshwater. So you say, Mike, how does freshwater apply, to saltwater? It's a bass. It's a predator. Okay, so it's a smaller fish, but it's a predator, it's a bass. Watch this guy's podcast. He's 76 years old. The guy is a genius. Total utmost respect for this guy. I watch him talk. I have several podcasts and stuff like that. He gets into colors. He gets into action. He'll have 100 rods on his boat. No exaggeration. He's won more tournaments than you can imagine. He'll have 100 rods with all different lures, all different colors, so he can grab on his bass boat. And in a split second, doesn't waste a second. So he's on and he's talking and he's giving out all the secrets because I think he's late 70s. Let's say he's 76. Don't quote me. Let's say he's 76. He's giving out all this information. And you hear his wife, who's an angler, all right, who's been into tournaments, stuff like that. She's a top-notch fisherman too. You hear her in the background. You're giving away all our secrets. What's wrong with you? It's hysterical, okay? And he turns around and he says, what am I going to do? Take him to the grave with me? Right? So listen to those guys. Those guys are the ones that are really spilling the beans, okay? Because they're at that point in life where they don't care anymore. You have nothing to lose but trying to share it with you guys. So look those guys up, pay attention to them, and gather as much information. As a lure builder, I listen to them, okay? I listen to them. I enjoy every minute. So I have the option of building lures and listening to music, building lures and watching a sitcom, or building lures and educating myself. I educate myself. Patent videos, fishing videos, whatever it is I need to learn, I'm going to college basically like you guys. I take those hours and absorb information. And that makes me a better person. That makes me a better businessman. It just balances me. I believe. It's just a true asset. I want to mention one other angler. So Nicole and I would go totally remote, come out. So it's fall spar. When you come down the lighthouse and when you come out on the beach where all the campers are, if you guys are familiar with that, where all the little boulders are, that's fall spar. They call it North Bar, okay? It's fall spar. So when you go west of there, you get on the beach, here's the water, you're gonna go west of there, and that's North Bar, okay? You go further down past that, you start getting into stepping stones, and then you go towards Split Rock, Canaries, Oyster Pond, the Canaries, all that stuff. So we would come in, that was about 5-6 years ago, I think, hon, right? We started going down to North Bar towards stepping stones, 7 years ago? Yeah, probably like 7 years ago. So we came in, all right, there's a whole crowd, whole bunch of campers there, all right, cool, yeah. There's a cut that goes to the beach. I got this monster rig, all right? I got tractor trailer tires, forget about it, it's huge. Go to the cut, boom, boom, go down the beach, I go all the way into that cove right by stepping stones. We get out, we set up, all right, this is awesome. They're all looking at it like, who the hell is this guy? Where did this guy come from? Long story short, Vito comes walking down, meets me, he's wanting to know, who's this guy, right? Who's this guy that's down here? Comes down and meets me, talks to us. He's Sicilian, another Italian guy, so we chatted, got along. In the fall, usually, I'll go up there, hang out by Fall Spar, where the guys are parked, because the cold's not coming out when the weather's really bad. And I'll go up there. And I'll fish with them, and I'll leave the camper there, so I don't have to air down and stuff like that. I make it simple. So I go up there, hang out with the guys. It's the first time I was really there. This group of guys there, hanging out. And I walk over to them, start talking to them. And there's a guy sitting there, right there. And it's daylight. I would say it's around 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And I'm looking at this guy and talking to everybody, and he's doing this. That's what he's doing as I'm talking to him. And I looked at him and I said, you're a fisherman. And he said, why are you saying that? I said, because you're looking for fish. You're looking for a splash. Looking for a fin. Looking for a fish jumping out of the water. You're looking for a dark cloud in the water. You're looking for a slick. You're fishing. You're not just sitting there. You're fishing. That's what I'm talking about, being one with nature. That gentleman was Tony Mello. He's hands down probably the best fisherman I know in Montauk. This guy's a rod builder, a lure builder, works plugs, he can work bucktails, destroys the fish. And he destroyed them last year, okay? It was him and me catching fish all year long, okay? Top-notch guy. Not only is he a great fisherman, but he's a great person. So I just wanted to mention that when you're hanging out and sitting there, you should be fishing. You should be looking for the osprey. You should be looking for those signs. Don't just be hanging out and, all right, having a beer, hanging out, having a drink with the guys. Whatever. That's okay. You could do that. But pay attention to what Mother Nature's showing you. Pay attention to what's going around you. That's the most important thought. I can't tell you how important that is. And keying on that. American Indians. So whether you learned something or not tonight, I'm sure I probably touched on something, but now I'm going to tell you something that nobody knows, all right? Now I'm going to teach you something. American Indians, what were they? One with nature, correct? They were bonded with nature. They lived side by side with everything that they did in life. Hunting, the gathering, the fishing, whatever they did. And they knew how to do it better than all of us combined. None of us will ever have the ability because they were involved with nature. Why I bring them up and why I say that, make it real quick. I got to give you a little summary. My dad was a nut. I already said that. My dad had the biggest private collection of pheasants, cranes, flamingos, grouse, and quail in the world. We shipped all over the world. Birds. We raised birds. We had 5 acres in Dix Hills of birds. There's a species of grouse, the sharp-tailed grouse and the prairie chicken. I hate to say this, girls, but in animal kingdom and the animal world, all the males are much prettier than the females, okay? We got all the color, we got all the flash. It's a fact. So when you look at the prairie chicken, they're more colorful. They got different color patterns. But now you go to the sharp-tail. And the reason why I'm bringing both of them up, and I'll get to it in a second, the sharp-tailed grouse is identical color pattern. There's only few species in the birds and wildlife where the male is identical to the female. You really can't tell. The American Indians, so I'll show you how in tune they were with Mother Nature. Hi-ya, hi-ya, hi-ya. You know that dance they do around the fire? Hi-ya, hi-ya. Anybody know why? Anybody know why? Where'd that dance come from? That's from out west all the way up north. Every tribe does that dance. Nobody knows? Well, I'm going to tell you what nobody knows. The prairie chicken and the sage grouse, the sharp-tailed grouse, not the sage, that's a different bird. Prairie chicken and the sharp-tailed grouse, they both do a mating dance. They'll put their wings out. They'll stamp their feet, and they circle the females. Okay? Look it up, you'll see it. This part, I don't know if you can look up. I haven't tried, but I don't know if you can look this part up. The way to sex a sharp-tailed grouse, you got the eggs, you put them in an incubator. You incubate them. They hatch. Take those little chicks, they're this big. Their wings are this big. They're this big, their wings, right? Think about a little baby chicken. They're tiny. You take them, segregate them into a box with a light on them. That little male chick, within the first hour, will put its wings out and do the mating dance. And that's how you sex it. And the American Indians knew it, and they paid homage to it, and they did their dances based on that bird. And to me, it's like the most incredible thing I've ever seen in nature, okay? And the Indians knew it. And that's why they did that dance. That's why it meant, they could have picked any mating ritual from any bird, but they picked the sharp-tailed grouse for that reason, and it went across the freaking country, okay? I don't even know if you can look that up. I don't know if it's online. You'll see the males dancing, but the chicks, I saw it firsthand with my own eyes, with my father. And he's the one that told me that's where the Indians got it from. And I believe them. It makes total sense to me. So being one with nature, I think, is such a huge aspect of being a great fisherman or a great hunter. Being one with nature is going to make you think conservatively and think conservation-wise and think about protecting our resources. And you guys are the future of that. You guys are the future of protecting it for the next generation and and instilling that on the next generation. And so we can keep it going and keep the great outdoors and the wilderness and the wild and the animals and keeping it clean. There was a commercial years ago with an American Indian. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that commercial. It's an American Indian, and they went to a stream. This is when I was a kid. You know what I'm talking about?
No.
And he went to a stream. Yeah, he starts crying. And there's litter all over the place, and he starts crying, okay? And not one word was said, and not one word was necessary to say. Basically, what I want to say to you guys is thank you very much for coming. I appreciate it. It was an honor for Frank to invite me here. I know you guys learned something, all right? You definitely learned something about the shark-tailed grouse. I hope you can apply the techniques that I told you with the sea rocket and be successful and send us photos, all right? Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks for coming.
You're
It was
welcome.
a great talk. Good job. And yeah, thank you so much, Mike, for coming down.
And grab a lure.
I sure learned a lot. Yeah, if anyone hasn't gotten the lure yet, come grab it. Only contingency is when you get a fish, got to take a picture, send it to
Take a
Mike.
picture and send it, yep.
And yeah, it was great. And we have our trip on April 11th, this Saturday. So I look forward to seeing you guys all there. An update on that. We're no longer providing a bus. Everyone is responsible for getting there on their own. And we'll have all the gear provided for you. So you just got to get there. West Meadow Beach will send you a pin where to park. And we'll all meet down there at 10 o'clock. And it's going to be a great time. We'll get to use the sea rocket. And we'll get out there. So thank you all for coming. And don't forget to check in with Armand for attendance.
I think somebody's using this room at 8, so like just come out in the hallway, come see me.